everybody. I got a shorter late night stream. I guess I got about half an hour. We left off right about here, and I think I was mentioning that we're trying to get the sort of shakeout of our uh, puzzle game company rocking and rolling. Um, we have a couple of charter updates that we saw here. Um, then we've got the playtester is tries to solve puzzles as if it were a human. And we actually have some data about this in our catalog. Notable techniques are kind of the way that a person might go about solving this, as opposed to the way that a computer might go about solving it, like representing it mathematically and running certain algorithms to completion, that kind of thing. And so, yeah, certainly like the computer method and the human method, they don't really have that much to do with each other. The computer is going to sort of try all possibilities in a certain way and keep track of a lot of moving parts and information. Perhaps search through really deep trees for possibilities, make lots of stack hypothesis on top of hypothesis, and then back off when one of those hypotheses doesn't work out, that kind of thing. Um, and the human's not going to do that. They're going to try and go forward in a sort of like one deduction at a time manner. They're going to try to find simple enough inferences. They can be fairly sure that by making a local inference, they're ratcheting forward in the solution, that kind of thing. And so, yeah, the notable techniques that are in our catalog right now, when we store a game and we read about it, we try to store some like you could say heuristic level things that the human might use to sort of work their way through the puzzle or common patterns. And it's only as the puzzle gets more and more complex that they'll be forced to devise new techniques and fall away from those, human heuristics into more complicated stuff, which can be a pleasure if those patterns are interesting or if you find it fun to master puzzle mechanics and start going really fast, that kind of thing. Um, it can be fun to just follow a chain of inferences really quickly and then, make an interesting looking insight that allows you to draw a line. That can be a lot of fun. Um, we've got charters for our sections, and we're doing a charter rewrite. So we changed sort of what the playtester would use to try and play like a human. And that's something that is basically something that we were planning to do periodically, right? We were planning to detect drift between the work that a department is actually doing and the work that it planned to do. And to understand that drift and growth are normal phases in a business department, and that we should periodically review them and reorder stuff. Uh, Especially if we think, the job is evolving or growing, or it's gotten too big and we might need to split things out, or we might need to consolidate things across all of the work that we're giving. Um, but especially when, as we did here earlier in the day, we find some kind of workflow gap and we go, oh, it seems like this worker is having trouble because it's trying to do something that seems obvious or it seems to be the right specialist for this job. Or at least somebody triaged something to the specialist and then it didn't solve the problem or didn't know how to do it, or it needed a new formula or crystallized business process, right? And so, where we left off, it's referring to phase four, some tools that we could use to review charter drift and update them. So, all of this is new to us. It looks like the analyst was working on a new attempt at implementing. Analyst delivered a good iteration. We could look into that inside of the artifacts, but let's just continue. Let's just believe for a minute and dip in when we feel like we should. Um, Then head to the Smith. The Smith is the sort of refactor or code quality guy. And it has certain intuitions about what a good program is supposed to look like. The analyst delivered a substantive iteration with three new techniques, and it was able to solve some of this. Um, the remaining two are the same instance shipped twice, which is cool. We found a bug. And so this is kind of the idea that if they have a mission and they know what to do, uh, yeah, and then they sort of start going back and forth without our intervention, then even though it's probably slower, even though they're probably making certain false starts and errors that a human might not, um, you know, human time spent zero. That's sort of the interesting game we're playing here, right? Like, if I'm paying a couple of dollars a day to have this capability, um, this then a lot of stuff is happening here that if I was subcontracting to some other person to do this level of work or this amount of work, it would cost much more than that. And it's possible that that's like an introductory rate that as an industry we're sort of getting hooked on the drug, and when prices increase, that it's possible that could happen. Um, but there is this sort of downward pressure on prices as well, right? Which is that even though they're less capable, there are open source alternatives coming online where instead of paying for this special service, maybe what I'm going to do is go pay for compute somewhere and just run against a less capable but much cheaper model, right? And so, it would be painful to be transported, 6 months back in time. But Opus 4.5 was still pretty good, right? Um, and I don't know if we've got an open source Opus 4.5 yet, but we would all kind of adapt and move on. And so I think that is going to keep um, prices for frontier models in a sort of reachable, approachable level. Um, I think it wouldn't be like that if there was a real step change, and then say that to get that step change in a frontier model, just no way to get it anywhere else on the market, and it costs a pretty penny. That could still happen in the future, but I think not for right now. We don't seem to be seeing that kind of thing happening. All right. It couldn't figure out this one, which is interesting. It does seem like it was able to do some stuff in some of these puzzles. And apparently, this puzzle, the particular one, 37676 BAD, was hard enough that the human heuristics couldn't get it started, which is definitely a possibility. Let's see if we can do that one real fast. I think we've got one of these. Yeah, here we are. Okay. So it has a proposed solution, but we should be able to draw this. So let's take it to our drawing program again. If you recall last time, we sort of drew a puzzle like this, and then we started to solve it. Let's do that again. In lieu of making all of the dots for the grid points, I'll just draw it like this. They are 3x3 Slitherlink-like puzzles, where we need to visit every cell. So it's not legal to end the puzzle with 4 edges on any square that aren't used. Okay, so what was our puzzle again? Empty, 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 3, 3, empty, 1, empty, 3. So it was 3, 3, empty, 1 empty, 3. I don't know why it had trouble with this puzzle yet, because for me, as an experienced Slitherlink solver, there are a lot of lines I can draw almost immediately. When we have two threes in a configuration like this, the opposite corners, and I've explained before that the reason is that you need to use 3 out of the 4 lines. If you use 2 of these lines right here, then you'll be forced not to branch, and so not to use 2 lines on this 3, which is illegal. If you can't use 2 lines over here, you have to use 2 lines on the outside to have enough lines to get 3 around here. Another thing that we have here is a 3 next to a 3. That's also immediately like you can work out for yourself the rules of that, but certainly like the line in between them has to be used, because if it's not there, then we have to draw a loop like this that is too small to contain the whole puzzle. But now that we've got this corner drawn here, we're forced to draw like this, like this, like this, like this. We can't close the loop early, so we keep going around. We can't close the loop early, like this. No branching means we can't use this edge, and we have to use this one and this one. See, we can solve the puzzle pretty easily. And maybe it's because the heuristics that were pulled from the catalog don't include this stuff about the threes and the obvious inferences that you can make when you have two threes adjacent to each other or diagonal from each other. So that's something to kind of investigate. But it is kind of a detail that's really specific to this puzzle type. Um, okay. Let's see here. Okay. I don't know what this means. Happen to draw the same grid twice. Okay. So slinging to the playtester for reassessment. I think that on this idea, um, so we were able to get through all of these inferences pretty fast, right? Like with simple rules like don't close the loop prematurely while there's still other content to get to, um, that sort of thing. And like I said, we solved this assuming that I understand the nomenclature of the JSON file, which, as far as I know, I do. um, there's sort of a little mystery here about why the playtester wasn't able to solve that puzzle. We also might be able to read the solution. I didn't think about that. The solution edges 1110101. Let's see what we can do with that. 111. Yeah, I don't know where it starts. If I were doing the edges, I'd probably mark them starting from this top corner. And this would be edge the first, second, third. We'd have this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. That's how I would number the edges. So, on that hypothesis, we'd have 12 horizontal edges and we'd have 12 vertical edges. You can check my math, but I'm pretty sure that's right. So there'd be 24 total in the list. And we can see that these go from line 33 to line 56. That's 24 edges. um, and it seems to have lit them, you know, assuming that 1 means use and 0 means not use. We could at least count here how many edges are in this solution. 5, 6 through line 44, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay? Start from this top corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I'm fairly convinced that the solution that it gave was correct, and that we're just missing something perhaps about the nomenclature. 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. 1, 1, 1. I'm trying to see if there's some direction where this makes more sense. Like I said, this for me would be 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 5 ones in a row, 0, 0, 1, 1, or sorry, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1. Are there 5 ones in a row? There is a sequence of 5 ones in a row. 5 ones in a row, 0, 0, 1, 1. Okay, something about its encoding I'm just not understanding. But that's okay. Okay. Nested intake, that's interesting. It says just let's there's a whenever the mayor is fiddling around the edges, right? We're using cognition to do a framework's job. So that's not our goal. Okay. There's a structural fix proposal that has it seems like when the molecule is poured, then perhaps the steps aren't going to the right people. And so if you had to sling them manually, then something was kind of off about that. I don't know exactly because I didn't read. We could look at it. Why don't we do that? DCBD show this. It might be a bug report. Okay. Here we go. Agent stamps intake, pours specialist molecule, and drains it without claiming the first step. And there's no assignee, and no one's routed to, and their work query can't find it. Yeah, there might be some context window pressure. Interesting. There's heuristics, but we could just do a tool. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay. Interesting. I see it as a bug. Yeah. I agree. It was looking at this for 40 minutes. I certainly would have done that person. Nice, interesting. Inner agent routing is doing what it's supposed to do. Smith read playtester's iteration critique, implemented the three asks, and dispatched the result to the next agent in the lane without any mere intervention. That's pretty cool. Um, Manually pour. Stall pattern getting serious. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I think so. I think we're caught up. Great. I caught up on events. One question. Maybe this was overtaken by events. Um, there was a puzzle. And was able to solve it pretty trivially. Um, I wonder if playtesting is revisiting old puzzles that it failed, that it failed to solve. It's a new batch of heuristics. They might function like regression tests. Um, yeah. Regarding stalling, it seems it seems like we might be running into the overlap between framework and cognition here. Hmm. Maybe there's something we can do with the acceptance at the end of the acceptance workflow that assigns the work that assigns the work tree to the right agent as as a parallel step to knowledge, so that the um, individual agent doesn't have to remember to do this. It seems like a deterministic reaction to a structured event. Um, I I agree that it would be nice if we had just going. Um, okay. There was a note here that we should probably clear our session. So, compact is the summarization thing, but in Gas City we have a skill, excuse me, called handoff that is sort of doing the more Gas City flavored version of compact. Mm-hmm. Good. So it's handling my 3 requests. Honestly, my excitement at the idea that we almost autonomously are vetting out a puzzle design, and I think there's a sort of downstream implication, right? That like once we've got the puzzle engine in good working order, then we want to be able to provide the puzzle solving experience to the player. Hmm. I'm sort of running out of minutes here, but yeah, I have no idea what its sort of knowledge base organization is like. As far as I know, it's just sort of like writing files willy nilly. But it is making new puzzles. It is taking metrics on those puzzles, uh, or critiques, that kind of thing. Um, as I mentioned, right, like the packaging is something that I would probably work on as well. Like if we have a standard package for a puzzle design, let's put all of let's organize all of its directories together so that, for instance, we're not polluting these top level directories with many different puzzle designs. Okay, right. Framework fix. Extend tools except where classify resolution. Okay. Extend tools except where classify resolution with a dispatch flag. When the mechanism is a formula and the dispatch is set, the primitive cooks the specialist molecule, stamps routed to that specialist on every step bead. The flag keeps the change backwards compatible. Yeah. Yeah. We should just do this. That's fine. Yeah. Version directories would be a lot, right? It would just compound the nesting of puzzles inside of this, inside of iteration, inside of that. Yeah, great. All right, the antiquarian's working. Yeah, understood. Green light for uh, the dispatch flag. Let's try that. Hmm. Hopefully, this is all that's needed. Once this is done, you could um, create beads to migrate the other specialists. Then, then prepare a handoff. Okay, cool. Hopefully, we'll get the Jenko puzzles into our catalog as well. Um, so yeah, that's a huge puzzle catalog, and we'll have to see after we're done with that if we can come up with a public puzzle that Jenko doesn't know about. Um, I'd be a little surprised. I guess we'll see. Oh, it got really spooky in here. Don't tell me if something's behind me. Okay, so I'm gonna stop it there. Hopefully, we'll return and the handoff is ready, and then we can clear out, start a fresh session, and yeah, feel pretty good about all we've achieved so far. Um, I think this will start to get really exciting when the computer is providing new puzzles, displaying the rules on a web page, and allowing me to click on stuff. Um, and then we can start talking about how to scale those solutions so that we're creating user-friendly puzzle generators that somebody actually might want to play with. If we can stick them up on a website, we could get some users. I guess we'll leave it at that. See you all tomorrow, hopefully. Peace out.